Good morning. We are back. So we have is the Webasto 2000. Are we ready? Well, sure. Let's do it. Let's make a hole. Eee! I'm a little scared. Manual rheostat. So I'm gonna put all this guys together, and then we're gonna check it out. For right now, we're gonna go through it and get started. Okay. Hey everybody, greetings from Vince's sister's driveway. Yes, we're still here. But today we are going to start the process on getting the Webasto heater going. So excited. So we are planning to head north and use our ski passes and just check out Colorado, Utah, and get better at our skiing skills and have a blast doing that. But first, we need heat, right? Because it's freaking cold up there and we don't want to be in this little metal box and be freezing. So we have is the Webasto 2000 Airtop 2000 STC B. That's the one for the gasoline motor. And so this is what this baby looks like. And I know it's quite a process to put it in. And it blows my mind that you have this expensive piece of equipment and it comes with no instructions. It comes with a manual thing, but all it says is make sure you do this and don't do this, but it doesn't give you step by step. So like most of you guys, I'm checking out the YouTube videos, and I found some really good ones, and I can link those below as well, but they're super helpful for me. So we're gonna get this thing started, which will mean we're gonna take the seat off, and while we're at it, I got a swivel seat for the passenger, so that's where we're gonna be installing it, is under the passenger seat. And let's just get started and I'll walk you through it. Good morning. Can you see my breath? I can totally see it. It's chilly out this morning. So today we're gonna start to tackle the Webasto in 2 parts. So I took the passenger seat out already. My plan for today, which will be day 1, I guess it's technically day 2 since I already took the seat out, but we're just gonna call this day 1 for the Webasto, is I need to remove, this is just sitting here by the way, I need to remove this guy, this plate. And what that was in there for is, that jack for the van was sitting there, so it just kind of stays there so it wouldn't slide out into the van. So I have a 10 millimeter wrench, and I can slide that underneath here to get to the 2 nuts. I don't know if you can see them. There you go. They're way kind of back there. And they're right under that bar, so you can't really get to them unless you get underneath. But it's pretty loose. So I'm gonna come under here and undo these 2 nuts and take that out. That'll be number 1. And then I have my area here that I marked out yesterday, which is the outline of my Webasto. I still have to decide on the orientation of how I'm gonna do it. I really want to do it this way, but I'm just gonna double check. I know there's wires right there, is a wiring harness, so I just wanna make sure that I'm cool with that and nothing gets too hot. But the plan would be then to cut this out, cut out the rubber, cut out the foam that's underneath it, and then make that 4-inch hole saw hole into the bottom of the van. And then the last part of that would be to attach all of the hoses and things that go into the bottom of the Webasto and be able to put that down into the van. And then tomorrow we'll be doing all the undercarriage part of the van. Stay tuned. Success! Got this guy out of there. So no longer is that going to be blocking our progress with our Webasto. On to the next. Are we ready? Well, sure. Let's do it. Let's make a hole. So a template here. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that guy out. Here we go. Oh my God, you guys, so check this out. I cut this hole out, which is the same template as this, and yeah, because that's what everybody does. But these wires, I'm not very comfortable with having these wires right here, and if I stick this back in there, it's covering directly on there. I saw out of this van did like a half inch plywood piece that basically extended this. And they did it so that it would be above this. Now I have, and I'll show you later, but I have that foam piece. Not all the kits have it, I saw. And that might be enough to clear this, but I'm more concerned about it sitting on the wires. So it's gonna sit in here like this. Actually, I think once I get everything out, yeah, we'll see if that clears, but yeah, that's my only thing. So I'm gonna do a little bit more research and come back to you on that one. All right, so I cut this out based on the template, and I still need to finish cutting this stuff out, but it ended up being over the wires. And so what I'm gonna do, and this is already cut out for the wires, I'm gonna still cover them with this, so cut off a little top strip there. And then I may end up having to come down here just a little bit more based on the other video I just watched. And then I think it should still fit. So let's give that a shot. Oh, snack time. Oh my God, these are the best quesadillas ever, made by my sister-in-law. Gotta make sure you have lots of fuel when you have big jobs like this. Okay, so I ended up needing to cut down here a little bit further. I know it's a little hard for you to see from that camera angle. You can kind of see under here. But I basically came all the way down to where it ends. You'll see in this corner here where this part ends. So I ended up having to cut down to there. And here's my foam piece I was talking about. Some of the kits have them and some of the kits don't. And it's gonna fit in here, and it's basically going to make a seal so that we don't have carbon monoxide coming back up into the van. So this will go on here, and now we are clear of the wires, and it fits in there nicely. I'm going to butt it up against the back here, I think. And once I cut that hole, then everything will sit down in there. Yay! And this will come back over here and cover up my wires. And I know that's not beautiful, but I'll figure out how to make it work a little bit better when it's done. Next step, so the Webasto will end up sitting down in here. And it looks like right now it would clear this. Now I know it's got to go down a little bit, so I think it's going to be just fine. I know we're supposed to have like 2 inches of clearance all around it. Obviously the sides have plenty of clearance. This does as well, and it's not, the opening's not even close to the wires. So next step is going to be to take the gasket, which fits right over this, okay? And then the whole thing goes down inside. So I'm going to put the gasket over here right in the middle, and then figure out exactly where the middle of the hole is there. Hope we can hear over that. And I'm going to drill a pilot hole and go all the way down, and then go down underneath the van and check it out to make sure everything's cool. Okay? Stay tuned. Alright guys, so I marked the spot right in the middle, and I'm going to drill a pilot hole. Okay. And we went through. Yay!
Alright, what do we got going on?
Oh, I got you a bouquet of flowers. Oh, no, it's actually a hole saw. 4 inches. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is awesome and solid, and I'm about to make a big old hole right down there. So I did a little baby pilot hole. That's the outline of my gasket. And because this drill bit in the hole saw is so big, we're going to step up. I use a little tiny drill bit to do that pilot hole, so now we're going to use this one, which is kind of in between the two. Make the hole a little bit bigger, and then we'll go with this one. Okay, so we're going to start with this guy. Eee! I'm a little scared. Mostly just nervous. It's not going to work right.
Always be cognizant of your hair.
Yeah, I know. That's why I put it all on one side. We're going to put that bit down in first, since that's the longest part. In that hole. Should be it. Alright, let's give it a shot. Yeah, part of it is. through here and here. All right, so we just stuck a flashlight underneath just to make sure that we can see what's already being cut, what's not being cut. And you can see on here that you can see through the hole and you can see through a couple side areas. And basically the part that's already cut is on the corrugations, right? So it's uneven on here. So now I just need to keep cutting so that it will go through the flat part and we'll be there.
All right, finally, get it.
Oh, look at that. Yay. Sweet. 4-inch hole. Ba, ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just vacuum all this stuff out, inside, out. And then we'll come back and use a metal file to file all the rough edges off. And then don't forget to always do the Rust-Oleum on there so that you don't get any kind of rust in the future. So that was exciting.
Good job, babe.
You. Coming to you live from my niece's bedroom, and this is wonderful. This is where we're staying at the moment until we get our van built out. So we get princess sheets and Ninja Turtle sheets, and it's so cool. They're so sweet and cute, and we're very thankful to have the room. So what I want to do with this Webasto build is just try to make it as simple as possible, because it is so overwhelming to look in this box and be like, what? There's so much stuff, you know, as you know, if you've already ordered one. And so let's make this simple. What I've done is I've been obviously watching lots of videos like we do, and I'm putting my little Webasto checklist in here. Hopefully I'll be able to share this with you guys down the line. But it's helpful to me to have it step by step. So I don't even have it completed yet, but for right now, we're gonna go through it and get started, okay? So, got the Webasto here. First thing we're gonna do is take this gasket, and you'll see it's got a little lip on it as well. So the lip actually goes down so that it's flush with the unit. So we're gonna take this wire and stick this up through the big hole and wind this down, and you'll see that there's 4 holes on top there. Oops, I got it upside down. Oh, it does matter. It does matter, because on this side there's 1 hole, and that goes right here where the nipple is for the fuel line. Okay, so this way. This is how we learn, right? All right, so we're going to slide that through. And it's going to go over top all of the holes. Okay, so that's going to be nice and flush in there. There's nothing there's no space in between the Webasto and the gasket. We've got the 4 holes for the screws, the intake, the outtake, and the fuel nipple. Okay, so that's the first step. And according to my list, next step is going to be to my metal plate. It's outside. Let me go get it. All right, back with the metal plate. Now, interestingly enough, this is the 2000 STP Airtop Webasto unit. I have watched several videos and I've seen like 3 different kits. And so I've watched one and be like, oh cool, I'm gonna do this. Oh, their wiring's different. Or a lot of people have the plate that's different. They'll have the 2 big holes instead of the long oval. So just know that when you're looking around. So obviously I'm going to do this off of my kit, and I've got this oval plate. All right, so next thing is we're going to put this on top, and again the wire's going to go through the middle. Okay, and we're going to put that on the top there, and it's going to go right. Was to put on this foam gasket. Okay, so it's got a peel and stick on here. This brown part is the part you peel off, and it's sticky on the other side. I'm not going to take that off yet because I'm not ready to do anything with it. But when you are, so the sticky side will actually go in the van. All right, so it's going to be like this, and then you'll flip it over and stick it down. So this prevents any gases to coming up into the van. Okay, and you definitely want to prevent that. So essentially, I need this bolt, but longer, because I want to be able to put it up through here and go through my foam gasket. Okay, so it would pop out like that, and couple nuts on there just to hold that in place, and then when I'm ready, I'll take off the sticky. Meanwhile, let's work our way down here. So the first thing you have on here is you have a silver output, right? And so this is for the exhaust. And so they give you this nice piece. Okay, it's got like a little collar on one side and not on the other side. So the non-collar side I'm going to put right over top of this. But what you need is a large clamp to go with it. Now, the clamp would come straight here. I'm going to take this off just so you can see a little bit better. Take that back off and you slide that up there and then put that on. The collar is going to come, or the clamp is going to come down here, and it's going to clamp this onto the silver post. But moving down to the little fuel nipple here, you're going to have a bag of small clamps and little pieces of rubber. Okay, and this little piece of rubber is to put on top of the fuel line. Now, you're going to need 2 little clamps, which I think I can just put over, yeah. Just going to go right down there on top of the fuel nipple, all the way down. Okay, and then you're going to have 2 little baby clamps, okay, that go on there. This one is going to tighten down into, so you have the fuel line that comes with it, all right, and it just feels like nothing, like the hole is so tiny, but it is for gas, so it's okay. And that's going to come in here. Now you're going to want to put the clamp on first, or you won't be able to get it on. When you put this fuel line in, it needs to go all the way down until you feel it touch that metal, okay, it needs to be all the way down there. And then once it's there, then we'll clamp this part. Okay, I'm back. Now, in looking through everything, I did find my longer screws, so I don't need to go get any for them. So these came with 6 screws, 6 nuts, and so these will fit just great all the way through here, up through here, and out through the band, so I can screw those nuts on the other side. The muffler is supposed to be located as close to the heater as possible, as you know, what makes sense underneath the band. And it supposedly makes a huge, huge difference in the noise that it produces. So apparently it's not super loud in the van, but outside of the van, it can be really loud and annoying to people that you're around if you are. So this makes a big difference. So we're going to put this guy on. And this comes with a couple of clamps, okay, for either end of the piping. It comes with these little L brackets, and these will go right in here, and then that way you can affix that somewhere in here and attach that to the van, however that looks underneath. And so what's going to happen is I'll be cutting this using one of these clamps. So let's just say this is where I cut it in the inside, right? You put the clamp around it, put the muffler in there. The clamps will then go around this tubing and the muffler, okay? And then it will continue out the other side. And now moving over to the other side, this is the combustion pipe, the little one that you get, super lightweight, okay? And it comes with a little clamp as well, a little different type of clamp. We're going to make sure, first of all, that on this, you're like, well, there's a wire in the way. What's up with that? Okay, there's a slit. I don't know if you can see it or zoom into it, but there's a slit right here where this comes down, turn it sideways, and moves out of the way. Okay, so now that's out of the way, and we can put this guy right there, move that all the way down, okay. And then we'll tighten up that hose clamp as well. Okay, a couple things I wanted to go over real quick before we go outside is the fuel pump. Okay, that's this guy. Now, when you see this fuel pump, it's going to have these little yellow things on the end. I just pulled those off, and I went ahead and put on the little rubber tubing, and I've put 2 of those gaskets in there. Okay, so it's gonna go, it'll tighten it down here, and then when I put things on either end, it'll tighten those into place like we just did. Okay, one important thing to know about the fuel pump is it's got a little arrow on there, and it shows the direction, this way, of the fuel, of the flow. Okay, so other thing is the fuel filter. This is the fuel filter. So again, it's gonna be coming through this way. I'm gonna attach it here on this end. It's going to come from the fuel tank into the fuel filter, into the fuel pump, through to the Webasto. Thing on the end, right, and it went inside. This clamp is going to go way down here and tighten down so that that's in place. All right. On this side, what we will end up doing, we'll cut this fuel line, and this will come into here, go all the way down as far as you can again, pull this up and tighten it in. Okay, so that way it will go to the Webasto. Important thing about that, actually, before that goes in, and I need to change this out. We actually need the elbow, because going from the fuel line up to the Webasto, it needs to be at a 90-degree angle. So we're going to use this elbow and push that in there, attach that, and then attach that. Okay, so it's going to look like that. Last but not least, if we look over here at the wires that come in here. So underneath the fuel pump, you're going to see this little plastic piece that sticks out. The wiring harness for this is this one that's got a green tip on the inside. Okay, that green part is actually going to fit right inside of here. And then the other end of the wiring harness is going to go to, you see an open spot. You have a separate connector. Connectors right here. They're going to go right down inside there. And then this will clamp, and you'll hear it, into there. Okay? And that's how we will connect our Webasto. Okay, and so here she looks, all tightened down. Okay, I had to flip this around because I put the screw, probably saw I put the screws down, then I had this upside down. So, like I said, sticky side goes up. All right, because that's going to go in the van. So, yeah. Everything's all attached and sticking out the way I want it to look. We're just going to take all this fuel line with us and go stick this down in the hole outside in the van and look at our next steps. All right, so I got that beautiful 4-inch hole in there. We put in last night, but I didn't put in the screws that we need for this guy. So I put this in real nice and snug. I want it to be, and then I'm just going to take a marker and go all the way down in there. Make holes. All right, let's start with the tiny drill bit, and then we'll work up to stepping up to something a little closer to that screw size. Right on. Let's vacuum those up. All right, so I want to take a little dry run and just stick this down in there. I'm not going to like put it all together yet, but I kind of just want to see what it's going to look like underneath. Down through there. All right, it's going to run. Here's my arrow. So it's going to run this way. So I was able to get it mostly down through that opening. This part here is really nice and rigid, and that's the exhaust, so I was able to get that down through, and you'll see that's actually hitting up against the driveway. And then the fuel line, I was able to pull that down pretty good. So they're both snaked on the same side, but the little tube here that's for the intake of the fresh air is kind of small. It's really not very rigid, and I was trying to get it to go on the other side, and I can't quite get that. There's the big old exhaust. So that came through really nicely. So this guy will get, once it gets put in the right spot, I'll clamp it and we'll make sure it's pointing down, and it's going to be able to come all the way out the side of the van, because carbon monoxide is lighter than air, and it will pool under the van and eventually make its way inside the van, and we don't want that. So it will be sticking out just a little bit.
Okay, so one thing that we are trying to figure out here is I can see, as you can see all the way through there. I can see you through there. Hold on, there you are. Well, you see our way back there. So there's a direct line from here just going straight back that way. So we're going to run the fuel line, and I handed it to her that way rather than this way and then down, because you can see it goes straight back there. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to run that line straight back that way, which will not then tangle up with these two pipes.
Now you can see the hole up there, and that's much better actually, I think, to be going backwards from the van. So now I've got the exhaust pipes coming this way. It's still going to be long enough to stick out the bottom. And then here we've got the gas line feeding through here, which is going to be good, the fuel line. I'm going to put something on there, the intake. Actually, it has a silencer as well, so I'm going to add that. And then I think, so here's the gas tank. Driver's side, over there. Looking up towards the driver's side. Fuel pump, somewhere up in here. Goes nice and open. And then I can attach all the lines like that. Okay, so on my van, as I showed you, I was going to take these screws out, and one of them is way underneath there. Unscrewed the fairing, and I'm taking that off, and then that should allow me this final screw, and then show you the stuff down inside there. So this little one is the one they give you for your intake. What I'm going to do is just get rid of the silver one altogether. Just use this black one as the intake, as my intake, and we're going to attach this on the intake spot there instead, right there. Okay, so I took the other one off. It comes with this kind of a clamp. This is the electric part that goes to the fuel pump that I fished back up through this way. Okay, so trying to put this on here. I laid it down so it's much easier to see because of this wire, and it does go down that little slot, but still it's hard to get this on here, and it can't go as far. All right, I finally got that sucker tightened down, and it's not going anywhere. It is tight on there. I can lift up the whole unit. And so this is going to go on the very end of it. This is the silencer. And then that also comes with a little thing, which I'll show you when I put it in. This was the electrical harness, which you saw. I attached it to the fuel pump. All right, so, and it doesn't matter which side goes in which hole. So we're going to stick those in there like that. And then I'll push that back down in there. That's attached to the fuel pump. So now everything should be attached as it's supposed to. And then I can just feed the Webasto down through the hole. Good morning! We are back for day 3 of the Webasto install. And so check it out. This is where I left it last night. This is where it's going to sit, right there under the seat. We've got clearance with the bar. Everything's awesome. Of course, it's not quite done yet, but I just want to show you how pretty it's going to look, and I'm so excited. So next thing we're going to do is come over here and look at the fuel source, and I'll talk to you about that up a little. Let's get a little more close and personal so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Let's talk access to the gas line. Okay, so like I said, the awesome thing about Promasters is we have direct access to that. In this kit that I have, we've got the connection port that goes right down in there. You're going to see that. It's got this elbow, and it's already the right one. So what I want to say about that is I watched a couple of videos, and a couple of different people had to buy, they went and bought tubing, extra fuel line tubing, and reducing elbow. And I went and bought them because I'm like, okay, well, when I'm ready to do the project, I make sure I have everything. And so before I take this off, because I know I'm going to smell the gas fumes immediately and I want to cap that back on, I'm going to put this back together. So what's going to happen with this, obviously it's going to replace that spot, but this is going to go into this little elbow tubing, and it's bigger on one end than the other. It's going to go right on here. And I already put this on once. Once it comes on, it doesn't come off very easily for sure. All right, and then it comes with a couple different sizes. They're both small, but one is a little bit bigger than the other one. And then we're going to put our fuel line that came with the kit in here. And that's going to go down into a hole that's back here, which you can't see, but it's there apparently. But I'm gonna have to go down and clip the gas line the fuel line, because I only have one cord and I'm using it for the other side as well. So we'll go figure that out in a second. So it's this black piece, it's got green on the bottom, okay, and it's got these two like parts that stick out. So what I'm gonna do with those is I'm gonna push them together and then push it out the back side. So you'll see a green on the back side. So those will come together and push it out, and it will clip out. Oop. Just like that. You can hear it go tick. And then I'll be able to pop that out and replace it with that one. So I just want to show you that I went ahead and assembled the fuel pump. I put all the pieces together on there, put the fuel filter, and got the 90 degree, got the electric component attached as well, and the other end I got that other piece. So when we're ready to attach it, we'll remember that the arrow goes this way. It's going to come from the fuel tank, through the filter, into the pump, up to the Webasto, and then we'll hook up the electronic component as well. Okay, and that part's ready to go. Oh, and this piece, like I said, is going to hang like this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go under the van and check it out. So we're coming in through the passenger side, straight underneath. Ugh. So hopefully I can kind of show you what I'm looking at. So straight under this big black guy right here is the fuel tank, okay? And the heat shield for the muffler, we've got a space, and the space is where I've run the intake. So now what I'm down here looking at is where do I put the fuel pump? There's a clamp, and we're going to put it on there. So a fuel pump is going to go from here. Let's see if I can get it to focus a little bit better. But it's essentially going to go in here. So,
all right, what do we got going on now?
Hey, all right, so we're going to take off this fuel cap, the dummy green one we talked about before that comes on the Promaster. We're going to get rid of that, and we're going to put the new one on that I put all of it together as I showed you before. And just so you know, the way this is set up, it's got these little gray things on the side. If you push those in, that's how you release it if you need to in the future. Okay, so we're going to click that down in there. Oh yeah, nice satisfying click. We're going to put it down in that invisible hole we talked about and see if it goes in easily. Okay, so we figured it out, and it is pretty much straight down in there. It was super helpful for Vince to be on the bottom and see where it was coming out, because in the beginning it was kind of getting stuck on some things. So I'm just going to feed that down through there, get down underneath and see where it's going, and then hook it up to the fuel tank, and then we'll be, or fuel pump, sorry, then we'll be ready to go. All right, so here's where it came down, right where we thought it would be actually. So let's take a look under here. And right where I put that fuel pump, up inside of here, that line's coming down. And so we're going to take all that extra, cut it off, and it's going to go right in this end. All right, guys, who's excited besides me? Come on. Now, I'm just putting in the wiring harness. I'll go over this a little bit more later. We put the big plug in here. This thing runs out into two different wires. The longer one, we're going to take it all the way down to the battery area, hook it up into the fuse box. And then this side is going to come up into this little guy. We don't have the digital because we have the high altitude package, so it's the manual rheostat. So I'm going to put all this guys together, and then we're going to check it out. So we just tried turning this on several times because I've heard that you have to, it has to prime, it has to run the fuel through the line, so it takes a few times, but nothing, there was no sounds or anything. And we were thinking, well, there's fuses already in the line, and so we didn't need it in the fuse box. But now we put a 20 amp fuse in the fuse box, so this should work. Let's see, let's listen.
What do you think, Vicente?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Is it gonna work? Let's see. You hear it? Listen, listen, come down there and listen.
Oh, it's pumping. You feel it?
Yes. And
Oh, Jesus.
the light's on.
It's making a noise now.
Okay, so it's gonna take a little time for it to pull through. Right now it's blowing, but it's blowing cold air. But it's blowing, so it's working. Yes. So I'm not sure if I have to turn it off and on again. Okay.
Okay, so it just made its first sound. So it's had to click through several times. Oh, look at that. I can see some exhaust fumes there. See that? So we're gonna get inside and close this off for a bit. Turn it on high for a little bit. You see right there?
Yeah, look at that.
And it's starting to warm up.
Yes! Woohoo! Works! Oh my gosh, that took a while.
Now we're gonna turn it on high to burn some stuff out.
Yeah, so be patient with that when you go to turn it on.
All right, so
Not hot yet, but
one thing that I've noticed too is that it does smell like a lot of chemically plastic smells coming right now. So I think maybe we should just let it air out for a bit and burn some stuff off.
Yeah.
We're enclosed in here and it's kind of burning off some stuff. So we're gonna let it burn for just a little bit and then come back and check on it. But we're so excited!
Yes!
Woo! We got some warm air coming out of this thing.
All right, so let's come check this out. The silencer is on the intake, but it's the little muffler we're gonna put on the exhaust is not there. So I want you to hear how loud it is now without the muffler, and then we'll check it later once I'm sitting next to you. You know, inside it's not that loud, but outside it could be pretty annoying, you know, if you're sitting next to you or something. So we're gonna fix it. Muffler should make a huge difference.
It really stinks too.
It does. It smells really bad.
It's not even like normal exhaust smell. It's just like this chemically plastic.
Definitely toxic.
Smell.
Let's not go breathe that anymore.
So
you can still hear it, but it's a lot quieter than it was. Excellent. Thank you, Muffler. Doing your job. So happy to report we were able to take our Webasto up to Colorado, Telluride ski trip. Check out the video soon coming for that one. And really happy with the performance of it. You know, we took it up to high altitude. We ran it all through the night. As per recommendations from Webasto, you are supposed to run it for long periods of time so you burn off any extra carbon that might be coming in through the Webasto itself. But really happy with it. It kept us super warm with all the ice and snow outside, and we were nice and toasty. So highly recommend the Webasto. We were super happy with it. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. We really love to interact with you in the comments and just see what's going on with your build too, and hopefully be on the road soon and see you guys out there.